One of the cruelest ways the damage shows up from neglect and abuse in childhood is that we go through life either alone or in relationships where we're not loved, not safe, and not happy. It's not supposed to be that way. And if you have childhood PTSD and you're wondering why you keep attracting people who are either not functional, not into you, or outright hurtful to you, you're going to want to watch this video. My name's Anna Runkle, also known as the Crappy Childhood Fairy, and I teach people how to heal the symptoms of complex PTSD and childhood PTSD. And having relationships with the wrong kind of people is definitely one of those symptoms. That is how my childhood trauma manifested for me when I used to live my life stuck in a loop between alone and in a bad relationship, one or the other. I'm making this video for those of you who are in that loop right now, and if you're actually in a good relationship, keep watching, because what I'm going to teach you here can be applied to a lot of other aspects of life, like work and creativity and fulfilling the dreams and goals that you have but haven't achieved yet. But let me focus on romance. Basically, if you had trauma as a kid, romance is one big area where you can end up with not just less than you really want, but with something you never wanted. You try to meet someone you like, who's a solid person, someone you can trust, and even when you think you found them, they let you down. They push you away, or they turn out to have some giant problem, like they're already in a relationship, or they have an addiction, or they just can't be there for you for one reason or another. And you wonder, why didn't you see it coming, right? If you're like a lot of people with childhood PTSD, it's not even clear how this blind spot happens. Everything seemed so good, right? They said all the right things. There were promises made. Your heart flew wide open to them, and you were feeling really good about it. And then, bam, you find out how wrong you were. And the horrible truth is, a lot of us stay in those relationships, if they don't leave us, for no better reason than we just can't face the prospect of a breakup or of being single again. It's too triggering of old abandonment wounds. So we hold on as long as we can. Whether it ends now or later, we lose years of our lives this way. So if this is familiar to you and you're drained and you're confused, I want to tell you why this experience, this moment where you just lost what you thought was a good relationship, is an incredible opportunity to heal. Not a tragedy, an opportunity. Now, when you get pushed out of a relationship with the wrong person, whether you know it or not, you've just taken a big step closer to the right person. Because right now, your path is clear. With some healing, the right person can find you. So if you're feeling ready for this good thing to happen, to meet up with the right person, I have some advice for you. The job in front of you is not to run out there and meet someone, not yet, but instead to raise the brightness of what I call your cab light. Cab light. Do you know this term? You know how taxi cabs have a light on top, and when the cab light's off, it means there's already a passenger in that cab. But when the light is on, hey, it's free. Well, this is a metaphor that refers to the vibe of someone who's ready and open to meet a really great new person, a cab light. Now, what happens when your cab light won't come on? Has this ever happened? You feel ready to meet someone, you're thinking about it all the time and maybe reaching out to people and putting in a lot of effort, but it's like no one can see you. You're not attracting interest, or you're attracting interest but not the right kind or not the right people. That's a broken cab light, by the way, where you're trying to meet someone but the only ones noticing you aren't anyone who's safe or appropriate or available for you. And if you're feeling anxious to meet someone, it's tempting to rush in and think, oh, I can just make it work, right? Have you ever done that? I have. Where you bond with that person and then realize who they actually are, and then spend the next 2 years or so trying to retrofit them into the person you hoped they were the first time you met. And you know how that ends, right? Now, when your cab light's working properly and it comes on, good people show up in your life. People who are appropriate, wonderful, totally happy to be with you. So how do you make that happen? How can you get your cab light to shine bright in just the right way to attract just the right person for you? I'm going to tell you, but let me first explain what may have been standing in your way so far. If you grew up with trauma like abuse, being demeaned, neglected, going hungry, not being protected from danger, these hardships, even when they're over, can leave traces all over your life, wounds, blind spots, pockets of low self-esteem that kind of leak out even when you're on your best behavior. So for example, if your aim is to have a family, then you would only want to attract people with the same goal and who are capable of, caring for kids, earning a living, supporting life as a family. And if you want to have a marriage, then you'd only want to attract a partner who could do that, who's free to marry you, as in not already married and able and willing to make a lifetime commitment to you if things go well. So the question is, if you're not attracting these things, if you're getting entangled with the wrong kinds of people who can never be what you want or aren't even trying, what are you communicating about yourself that's leaving these needs of yours just dangling out there unmet, unseen? If you're not attracting what you want, your cab light is not working. So you can think of a working cab light as the set of signs that you give off that a partner who's a good fit would be looking for when they meet you. Healthy people look for the signs of what they want, and they stay away from people who communicate something different than that. The people who don't really care what signals you're sending are the messed up people, the people who aren't healed yet, or the people who are actually looking for not love, but a quick fix relationship. And for them, the stakes are really low. They don't care. So if you're not clear who you are and what you're seeking, then your cab light can't communicate it for you. And in that case, you're going to get whoever you get, but not who you want. Now, I'm simplifying it, but this in a nutshell is how we end up in empty and miserable relationships, blaming the other person. But really the problem began because we were carrying around enough trauma that we just couldn't shine a light that could attract the kind of person we wanted. Now, the good news is you have the potential to change this, and it starts in here, healing the hurts that dim your light. And you do this both through brain healing and through a loving and honest self-assessment around where you might be putting up a barrier between where you are and where you want to be. Now, what kinds of barriers am I talking about? Well, maybe you're not taking care of yourself, or you're letting TV and spacing out take up all your free time, or you're being way over busy, or this is a big one, you're isolating. Nowadays, it's easier than ever to do that. And if this is your tendency, I urge you to fight it and to fight the 100 ways that your light gets turned off right when you need it. So what else are some things that hide your light? Being already in a relationship that's not healthy or happy for you. For one thing, bad relationships, they wreck your sparkle and they squash your confidence. And though you might be thinking that you can hold on for a while until you meet the right person, healthy people don't want to meet you like that. They don't want to be involved with people who are already attached or with people who are too insecure to be on their own when that's the right thing to do. You want a person who's picky like that, not someone who gets into a relationship that's compromised or demeaning. You want someone who cares about themselves enough to hold out for a good person, someone bright and shiny and whole and available. That's what healthy people do. So how can you tell if you're sending signals that you're not truly available? This is where a loving and honest self-assessment comes in, to ask yourself if maybe there are barriers you're putting up that are keeping the good partners away. Addictions would fall into this category. Drugs, drinking, and porn, for example, are all things that people feel like they're doing privately, but in reality, they change your energy, they change your countenance. And unhealed people might not be able to tell the difference, but healthy people can tell pretty quickly, and they're not attracted. Now, carrying a lot of anger is another barrier. Also, having a lot of drama or conflict in your life. Not that you can always control this, but a lot of times a pattern of drama and conflict could point to a lot of wounding and a high probability that this is what you'd bring to a relationship. So just like addictions and anger, drama and conflict deserve to be at the very top of your list of where to focus your healing when you're working on getting that shine up in that light of yours. Another barrier is when your romantic energy isn't contained within you right there, right, ready to be shared with another person when the time is right. You could be leaking that potential, that emotional availability all around you with maybe staying too connected to an ex or two or three, or being caught up in casual relationships where you have some vague plan to just get rid of those people if the right person comes along. It's easy to think that it's a small thing, and if no one really knows about it, it won't affect your ability to meet someone new. But you know what my experience is? It dims your cab light. And healthy people who are looking for someone intact and capable of sharing their lives in a good way are just not likely to be interested in someone who has one foot in another relationship. Even if that's a fantasy relationship, healthy people can sense that too. They're looking for a bright cab light, and that's someone who is totally present, mostly healed, don't have to be perfect, and free of past entanglements. Now, it might be harsh to hear, but I'm telling you, it's a very powerful shift to make. This is all stuff that I teach in my dating and relationships course for people with childhood PTSD. And if you're interested, I've put a link to that in the description section below. But I've found people with a rough childhood can have great relationships. It just takes a little extra healing sometimes. Now, if you like this video, you're going to want to watch this one about trauma-driven beliefs that are standing in the way of you finding real love.